things stand right now between Baker Mayfield and the Bucs and a new contract? Feels like every time we talk about this, we're like, well, this just needs to get done, and there are all the reasons why, and you could put his numbers up against other guys that are making more money and yada, yada. Where do we stand?
This is probably among the more interesting negotiations. We're on the eve of training camp, which Baker Mayfield has implied is his deadline, that he doesn't want to negotiate this deal once that occurs. But there's some nuance in play here that makes this especially interesting. Jason Licht, the general manager of the Bucs, is one of the few GMs in the NFL who's really good at getting deal done in person. I think this is a little bit of the behind the scenes type of stuff. He's one of these like authentic guys. When he gets in the room with the player, he can really show him what he means to the organization and how he's going to fit, with the money obviously being critical. And the other interesting fact here is Licht wants him. I don't think there's any question there. Baker Mayfield, though, wants to get paid and has felt the disrespect over the past few years, not from the Bucs specifically. Licht has gotten him at a bargain to this point, and now we're talking about upwards of $50 million. Think about it. The Bucs, since Jameis Winston on a rookie contract, Tom Brady on a sweetheart deal, and then Baker Mayfield on the discount rack, the Bucs have not had to pay a quarterback. Licht's going to have to come to terms with that. He knows it. I do think this eventually gets done.
Yeah.
Sources telling ESPN that Buccaneers nose tackle Vita Vea has requested a trade. Now, Vea is a two-time Pro Bowler, was a hold-in at mandatory minicamp after talks on a contract extension stalled. He's just the latest Tampa player unhappy with his deal. Now, Baker Mayfield is in the same boat, but hasn't yet asked for a trade. What do you make of this request from Vita Vea?
This is not surprising. Vea has been playing on a big contract here for multiple years with those big base salaries. We see most NFL teams restructure those salaries for void years, right? The Bucs haven't done that with Vea, which indicates that they want the flexibility to potentially not extend him and let him hit free agency. So $17 million in base salary sitting on this last year of his deal. Now, if I were Vita Vea and I was one of the two best nose tackles in football, and the other guy, Dexter Lawrence, got traded for the 10th overall pick like 3 months ago, I also would be saying, hey now, I think I'm pretty valuable here in the league. There's only two guys, Kevin, who are significant pass rush threats from the nose tackle. It's Lawrence and it's Vea. The issue for Vea is he's 3 years older. He is 31 years old. Lawrence was 28, already kind of pushing his prime. Vea is certainly past his. And so I texted an executive right when this news broke, and I said, if you were building a trade package for Vea, what would you do? He said, I don't know, like a second and a fifth, but it's going to be hard because that Lawrence package really sets the floor for Vea's trade value.
How comfortable are you? How similar is it to before you got hurt? And how often are you judging yourself versus previous you, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're constantly evaluating it. It's hard not to compare it. I think I'm in a really good spot. Like I said, I can do everything. There's nothing that that I can't do. I think there's still that last little bit that you're working to get back, but I feel good in the next month or so as I get into team drills, 11 on 11, doing everything again of that, coming back and feeling 100%. So, like I said, continue to work with the trainers here and strength staff and all the things I need to do to get there. But feeling really good.
Kyle Shanahan's situation, the nature of his injuries, and then how this could really affect how he coaches this team going forward.
Well, yeah, certainly, Laura, a very significant and serious situation with Kyle Shanahan enduring a car accident that did leave him with many serious injuries. And I can give you, just to give you some understanding, fractured ribs, broken nose, broken hand, 40 facial stitches, and a severe concussion. And while he continues to heal up from a lot of the stitches and the bones, it is the concussion that is certainly the most alarming. And John Lynch has been very clear that they're kind of treating it almost like a player in concussion protocol. Like, make sure that he gets the type of rest that he needs on the eve of training camp. So this is a situation where they are treating this with as much significance and seriousness as they can. When it comes to him coaching, Kyle is the type of person, I can assure you, who is obsessed with football. To the degree that you have to keep him. We talk about players having to be kept off the field. Kyle is one of those guys in terms of being a coach. So the team trying to make sure that he gets the proper rest in what has been certainly a very serious situation.
Yeah, we'll keep
quarterback position this season.
Yeah, Gross, the expectations remain the same. Kirk Cousins is expected to be the starter to begin the season, given just his familiarity with Clint Kubiak's offense, and during the offseason program, he took the majority of the first team reps during practice. Now, that does not mean Fernando Mendoza will not have a chance. The expectation is for Mendoza to get his fair share of first team reps when training camp begins next week. But the Raiders have made it very clear that they want to be patient in Mendoza's development, even if that means Cousins starts the first few weeks as a starter, or even starts the entire season in that role, depending on how he and the Raiders are performing.
Yeah, Graz, I just got news a few minutes ago that tests revealed that linebacker Nick Gordon suffered a torn ACL in his right knee brutal news for the Panthers, brutal news for Gordon, who is expected to have a huge year 2 impact for the Panthers. You mentioned his 5 sacks, but the thought was he was going to be a really strong duo with their highly priced pass rusher, Jalen Phillips. And I was there at practice and watched it, and he took an awkward step towards the end of practice, and he fell down. And I've watched a lot of practices. I haven't seen many where a player gets carted off and every single player comes up and hugs them. There were players kneeling around, and you could feel the heaviness of the impact and the injury. And unfortunately for the Panthers, the test revealed the bad news that they were fearing. And so for the Panthers, they're going to have to replace him. But I just wanted to give you guys insight of how the team is reacting. And after practice, I got a chance to talk with linebacker Jalen Phillips about his emotions of seeing his teammate go down so close to him.
Obviously, we don't really know what it is yet, but just regardless of what it is, I know that feeling, man. I've been there, unfortunately, multiple times, and I know how frustrating it is. And Nick is someone who just cares so much about the game, does everything right, man. Such a great dude. So you hate to see it, but ultimately, man, I know that he is the type of guy, bro, that he's going to have a great mindset no matter what it is, and he's going to attack it, and he's going to be thankful to God for giving him the opportunity. And ultimately, like I said, he has a good head on his shoulders, so he's going to be good regardless.
Now, Phillips was a big portion of the Panthers' plan to solve their pressure issues, and he's going to have to step up even bigger with Gordon out. I talked with head coach Dave Canales after practice off to the side, and he mentioned to me that, look, Gordon's a huge part of this. We can't truly replace him, but he mentioned Pat Jones, a veteran free agent they signed a couple years ago, and Princely, a young rookie they drafted a year ago, as 2 guys to help. They also could look in the free agency market to get an upgrade, but on what was a hopeful, optimistic day for the Panthers to start, as the rain comes down here in Carolina, certainly a somber way to end day 1 for Carolina.
It doesn't sound like we'll be hearing from Tyreek Hill, at least on the football field, anytime real soon. What are you hearing?
Yeah, Dan, so I'm told that multiple teams have checked in on Tyreek Hill, but his market's a bit stagnant because of what you heard there, the severity of this injury. It's going to take time, and getting back for week 1 seems like an arduous task at this point. But I'm told that Tyreek Hill is still very fond of the Chiefs. Perhaps that door could be open if they need a receiver. Maybe they have an injury. Maybe it's week 4 or week 10 midseason that they need some help. So could be a situation that makes sense there because of the familiarity. I also looked at Washington. Look, I expect them to add a receiver at some point. I think they would prefer to add a speed option. A lot of the veteran free agents out there are not speed guys. Even Tyreek Hill at 80% is still a speed guy based on the way he used to run.
Yeah, besides the Chiefs, I think that the teams that we need to look at are the teams that might need wide receiver help halfway through the season, right? Like, I think right at this point, late July, you can, as a team, you can often talk yourself into things looking a little bit different than what they actually will look like once the games have begun. There aren't too many teams right now that are saying, we must add a wide receiver.
Right.
That will change when injuries pile up and when offenses are struggling during the middle of the season, at which point I think Tyreek Hill's market will be a lot better.
And all these guys, Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen, Tyreek Hill, your best leverage is when a player gets injured, because then there's a starter spot you can walk into, command a better contract, and it goes from there. Right now, that's just not available.
I also, and I'm going on a limb here, I'm going to imagine that in the case of Keenan Allen and Stephon Diggs, who are healthy, they're probably okay not going through a full training. Just a guess.
At that point in your career,
30-plus-year-old guys
doesn't sound as great. Yeah. They have Deshaun Watson back from multiple Achilles tears, and he's in a competition with second-year man Shedeur Sanders. Jeremy, what are you hearing about the Browns' plans at quarterback?
Dan, I'm hearing that the Browns walked away from the offseason going into camp saying we need to see more. The Shedeur Sanders had a nice late surge at the end of OTAs and minicamp, closed the gap a little bit. Most people around the league still say that Deshaun Watson is the favorite, and he'll be well positioned through this, but I think Todd Monken is going to go into training camp action and some preseason game action to figure out who his starter is. He just wants to see them in different scenarios, playing 11-man football, maybe taking some hits. Who responds? This is a true camp battle, maybe more so than some of the others. The good news for the Browns, whoever the quarterback is, Quinshon Judkins, quick add, running back hurt his ankle. I'm told he will be full go for the start of training camp. So they have a bell cow for the new QB.
Certainly. This team overachieved. A lot of people said it was big because of the schedule. You didn't really have a lot of players on this team in your fantasy league, most likely. In fact, their number 1 receiver from last year isn't even on the team anymore. So, expectations are kind of par in this team. They didn't look great in the playoffs, and, they didn't end the season on a high note. So the expectations are super low for this team heading into this season. They're not even the favorites to win their own division, Seth Rollins. Ooh. Can you believe that?
I have a feeling I know where this is
Can you believe that? My final sleeper team of this draft are your defending AFC champion New England Patriots.
Wow, Brockman.
Nobody thinks they're going to be good this year, okay? All the offseason stuff that's going on, I don't even want to bring it up. I won't even dignify it with the response. But they improved. Have you heard of A.J. Brown, Seth Rollins?
I know that name.
You've heard of that guy, right?
Yeah.
TJ, you've heard about A.J.
I've heard of him.
They should have had the MVP of the whole dang league last year. Got better on defense, got better on offense. Oh, we're back. We got a chip on our shoulder. We are angry. Get ready. The New England Patriots are an underdog this year. We're wearing that. Let's go.